Welcome to a slide presentation on safety training, fall protection, rules, parts, pieces, and uses in construction, brought to you by the American Subcontracting Association, the Houston Chapter Safety Committee. This presentation is designed to assist supervisors conducting toolbox talks or tailgate meetings. Since workers are the target audience, this presentation emphasizes hazard identification, avoidance, and control, not standards. No attempt has been made to treat the topic exhaustively. It is essential that companies tailor their presentation to the needs and understanding of their audience of workers. This presentation is not a substitute for any of the provisions of the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970 or for any standards issued by the U.S. Department of Labor. Mention of trade names, commercial products, or organizations does not imply endorsement by the American Subcontractors Association, the Houston Chapter Safety Committee. Fall protection is part of OSHA 1926-501 regulation. Every 4 minutes in the United States, someone suffers a fall injury. Fatal falls, slips, and trips took the lives of 384 workers in 2018. Ask yourself, how many times have you risked your life? This slide is about the anatomy of a fall. It takes most people about 1/3 of a second to become aware that they're falling. It takes another 1/3 of a second for the body to react, and a body can fall up to 7 feet in 2/3 of a second. A person weighing 200 pounds can accumulate almost 3,800 pounds of force when they're falling with an appropriate fall protection system. To work, your anchor point must be able to support 5,000 pounds of force. This is about the same weight as your standard pickup truck. To help understand the basic physics of a fall, this table shows your force of impact for a 200-pound person at various heights. Now, OSHA limits the amount of force that a person should experience during a fall to 1,800 pounds. Well, as you can see from the chart, in a half second, you've already moved 4 feet and you're at 1,600 pounds. 3/4 of a second, you're moving at 16 miles an hour. At 1 minute, you're moving 22 miles an hour, and you could have 6,400 pounds of force on your body when you land. When a personal fall arrest system is used, a shock-absorbing lanyard or a fall limiter is the only way to keep fall forces under 1,800 pounds. Typical force with a shock-absorbing connecting device is limited to 900 pounds. Fall protection involves having a competent person on your staff, one who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surroundings of working conditions which are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous to employees, and has authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate them. Qualified persons, as defined in fall protection systems, are persons who have a recognized degree or professional certificate and extensive knowledge and experience in the subject field, someone who is capable of design, analysis, evaluation, and specifications in the subject work, project, or product. For example, a qualified person may be an engineer that delivers engineered drawings for a lifeline system and for determining anchorage points. 3 types of fall protection methods are currently popular in construction. A fall prevention system is designed to prevent a worker from falling to a lower level. An example would be guardrails. A work positioning or fall restraint system is one that allows a worker to approach a fall hazard, conduct his work, but not allow the worker to fall to lower levels. And lastly, a fall arrest system is a design system that will protect a person from crashing onto a lower level after a fall. An example would be the fall arrest harness and lanyard system. So when is fall protection required? Well, each employee working on an elevated surface of 6 feet or more from the lower level shall be protected from falling by the use of a guardrail system, safety nets, or a personal fall arrest system. Here is a photograph of a fall hazard in construction and a common method to remedy the hazard. Here the employee is in a full body harness and using a lanyard system tied back to an engineered 5,000-pound anchor point. This is a personal fall arrest system. A fall protection plan should be done whenever fall protection equipment is in use. The plan is written so that everyone understands what to do in case of an emergency rescue. All employees involved in the use of fall protection equipment will work together to create the plan. The goal of the fall protection plan is to rescue the employee as soon as possible and limit the hanging time in a system to no more than 15 minutes. The plan needs to include for the worker to be unconscious and to ensure that all the rescue equipment is in the immediate vicinity. Always call 911 whenever someone has been in a fall arrest situation. Here is an example of protecting employees with a wooden guardrail system. On a guardrail system, the top rail must be installed at 42 inches with a plus or minus allowance of 3 inches and withstand a downward force of 200 pounds without the top edge of the guardrail deflecting. The amount of deflection can only be to 39 inches above the working level. The mid-rail needs to be installed approximately 21 inches in height and withstand without failure a force of at least 150 pounds applied in any direction at any point along the mid-rail. The toe board must be a minimum of 4 inches high and withstand a force of 50 pounds. And always remember this rule about guardrail systems. Never tie off and use a guardrail system as your anchor point. We have a responsibility to inspect guardrail systems. The photograph on the left clearly is not adequate because of gaps at the end of the rails and extensions beyond the posts. The photograph on the right shows a properly anchored and properly built guardrail system. Cable guardrail systems are sometimes used on the job and must meet minimum requirements. Cable guardrails must be 42 inches high and cannot deflect below 39 inches. A cable guardrail system has to be marked every 6 feet so that it's easily visible. It must have adequate terminations and attachments. These types of guardrail systems do require maintenance to ensure they remain functional. A common saying on wire guardrail systems is "don't saddle a dead horse." Study these photographs carefully and you'll see that the correct installation method is with the dead end of the wire on top and the saddle on the bottom or the live end. This makes the guardrail strong enough for use. Ladder access is sometimes required to lower levels, and proper work planning can eliminate floor openings. The ladderway requires fall protection with a maximum opening of 18 inches to the side of the ladder, or an offset entry to minimize the hazard of employees stumbling into the opening. A hole is a gap or void 2 inches or more in its least dimension on a floor, roof deck, or other walking surface. Holes in floors need to be guarded with railings or an appropriate cover. Covers must be clearly marked, secured to prevent displacement, and capable of supporting twice the intended load. All other covers greater than 12 inches shall be capable of supporting without failure at least twice the weight of employees, equipment, and materials that may be imposed on the cover at any one time. Covers must be clearly marked and secured to prevent displacement. Construction barricade tape may not be used as a guardrail around holes. Skylights and domes have their own unique hazards. Ideally, barricades are used to prevent access to skylights. If covers are provided, Again, they must support twice the intended load. The photo on the right is where a person sat on a skylight to eat his lunch and fell through. When accessing a roof, all hazards must be identified. Thank you for watching, and that concludes our presentation on fall protection, sponsored by the American Subcontracting Association, Houston Chapter Safety Committee.